All right, ready for a deep dive into something kind of fascinating? It's about testosterone, but not in the way you might think.
Sounds intriguing.
So I was reading this article in Psychology today. It's called Low Testosterone and the Desire to Live.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, right. And it was written by Hamid Zahn. He's got a PhD, and it was published like just the other day, December 4th, 2024.
Very recent.
Yeah.
So what caught your eye about it?
Well, it's this idea that as our hormones, do their thing as we age, it's not just about like energy levels. It might actually affect how much we want to like embrace life,
Yeah.
go on adventures, chase big dreams, even just feel excited about the day.
Yeah, I see what you mean. It's like that overall zest for life.
Exactly. And the article even goes as far as saying that like declining sexual desire, that often goes hand in hand with a more general lack of enthusiasm for, well, everything.
It's a bold claim.
It is. Have you ever noticed that, by the way, like either in yourself or people you know? That shift where things that used to get them fired up just don't have that same pull anymore.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for sure. Part of it's got to be like societal expectations about aging, right?
Mhm.
But I think there's definitely a biological component at play, too.
Right.
I mean, if you think about it from an evolutionary standpoint, our bodies are kind of optimized for those peak reproductive years.
Mm.
And once that phase starts to wind down, well, let's just say Mother Nature might not be as invested in keeping us at like peak performance level.
Right, that makes sense. So where does testosterone like fit into all of this? I feel like most people just think of it as, gym rats and building muscle.
Yeah, that's a common perception.
Not necessarily like a key ingredient for, a vibrant life.
Right. But here's the thing. Testosterone's influence, it goes way beyond just like building biceps. Like it plays a crucial role in how our bodies store fat, especially for men. Think about that classic dad bod.
Okay, yeah.
A little extra weight around the middle. That's at least partly due to testosterone declining.
So it's not just like a vanity thing. That shift in body composition, it must have a deeper impact.
Absolutely. When your body is carrying that extra weight, especially around vital organs, it can really affect your energy levels, how well you sleep, even your self-confidence.
Yeah.
And all of that can chip away at your desire to, like, engage with life, to go after the things you enjoy.
Yeah, yeah. Like it's almost like a domino effect. These hormonal changes, they kind of ripple outwards and affect how we feel and experience everything.
Exactly. But it's not only physical either. Testosterone also has a huge role to play in the brain's reward system. That feeling of pleasure and satisfaction you get when you achieve something or try something new?
Oh, for sure.
That's got testosterone's fingerprints all over it.
Wait, so a dip in testosterone could actually make life feel like less rewarding on a fundamental level?
That's what the research suggests. And it's not just the big wins either. It's those little sparks of joy throughout the day.
Hmm.
A good conversation, a tasty meal, a moment of creative inspiration. Testosterone influences how strongly we experience those pleasures, how motivated we are to seek them out.
That's interesting. I've noticed, like, with some of my friends, as they get older, they seem less and less interested in trying new things, taking on challenges. They're content with their routine, which is fine.
Yeah.
But part of me wonders, is that a sign of, like, that declining drive we were talking about?
Yeah, it's certainly possible. And that ties into another area. Testosterone affects risk-taking behavior, that urge to push boundaries, get outside your comfort zone.
Yeah.
Testosterone plays a role in that too.
Wow, so we've gone from, like, gym bros to the very essence of what makes life feel, like, vibrant and worth living. But the article also mentions this study about eunuchs, and it seems almost contradictory.
Oh yeah, that's a fascinating one. It's a historical study from Korea. It looked at eunuchs who were, castrated in boyhood. And what researchers found was that these men actually lived significantly longer than their peers who hadn't gone through that procedure.
So, hold on. Less testosterone equals longer lifespan. Wouldn't that mean trading, like, vitality for more years?
It's a real paradox, right?
Yeah.
This study seems to suggest that the relationship between testosterone and how long we live, it isn't a straight line.
Yeah.
It's more like a U-shaped curve. Extremely high levels and extremely low levels can both have negative consequences.
Okay, now I'm really intrigued. How does that work? Why would both high and low testosterone be bad?
Well, on the low testosterone side, you've got increased risks for things like obesity, diabetes, heart disease, all of which, can shorten lifespan.
Mm-hmm.
Testosterone is really important for regulating stuff like inflammation, how sensitive your body is to insulin, even cholesterol levels. So when it's low, those systems can get out of whack.
So it's not just about feeling less motivated, there are actual health risks. But you're saying high testosterone can also be bad.
That's right. There's more and more research showing that having way too much testosterone might actually increase your risk for certain cancers, even cardiovascular problems. It's a reminder that balance is key. The body thrives on balance.
This is really making me rethink my whole view of testosterone. It's clearly way more than just a male hormone for muscles and sex drive.
Right.
It affects our health, our energy, even our psychological well-being, like pretty profoundly.
Absolutely. And that leads to a big question. If testosterone is this important for our overall vitality, is there anything we can do to influence it as we age?
That's what I want to know. Can we actually take control of this, or are we kind of stuck at the mercy of our declining hormones?
Well, the good news is we're not powerless. There are absolutely things we can do to support healthy testosterone levels as we age.
Phew. Okay, good.
And these choices, they can have a ripple effect, not just on our physical health, but on that sense of vitality, engagement with life that we were talking about.
Okay, I'm all ears. What are these magic solutions?
Well, there's no magic bullet, unfortunately. But one of the most powerful tools is exercise. And not just casual strolls in the park. The article really highlighted cycling and resistance training, things like barbell squats, as being particularly effective.
Interesting. Why those specific types? What makes them so special for testosterone?
That's a great question. Researchers are still kind of figuring that out, but one theory is that those activities, they engage large muscle groups, and that seems to have a bigger impact on hormone production. There's also evidence that high-intensity interval training, HIIT, can be beneficial.
So it's about really pushing your body, making those muscles work hard.
Exactly. But here's the catch. The article also mentioned this sort of tricky catch-22. Low testosterone can actually make it harder to exercise in the first place.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. If you're already dealing with low energy, maybe you lost some muscle mass, feeling fatigued,
Yeah,
it can be tough to even start working out.
right. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah, like you need the testosterone to get the benefits of exercise, but you also need exercise to boost the testosterone. So how do you break out of that loop?
Well, gradual approach is key. Instead of trying to go from 0 to 60, right, focus on small, achievable steps. Maybe start with short walks a few times a week and slowly increase the distance or how fast you're walking. Or try some bodyweight exercises at home before jumping into the gym scene.
It's about building a foundation, both physically and mentally.
Exactly. And consistency is super important. Better to do a little bit regularly than try to do a ton and burn yourself out.
Good advice in general, I think, not just for exercise. But what about folks who are already feeling the effects of low T? Is exercise enough to turn things around at that point?
Exercise is an awesome starting point for sure, but sometimes it needs a little help. That's where working with a healthcare provider is important. They can assess your individual situation, run some tests, and see if other interventions might be appropriate.
So you're talking about testosterone replacement therapy, TRT.
TRT is definitely an option for some people, but it's important to approach it with a balanced perspective. It's not a magic cure, and it has potential risks and side effects that need to be carefully considered.
So not something to jump into lightly.
Exactly. It's all about weighing the potential benefits against the risks and making an informed decision with your doctor. And even if TRT is recommended, it's often most effective when it's combined with lifestyle changes, like we were talking about exercise, healthy diet.
So a holistic approach, not just a quick fix.
Exactly. And, we can't forget about the mental and emotional side of all this. The article emphasized the link between declining testosterone and feeling less motivated, less driven to go after goals and passions.
Right, that whole zest for life piece. It's not just physical, it's feeling mentally and emotionally engaged.
Precisely. And when that drive starts to fade, it can really affect someone's happiness, their sense of fulfillment. Imagine feeling like you've lost your spark, that inner fire that used to push you forward. It could be pretty tough.
It makes you wonder how much of what we just chalk up to aging is actually due to these hormonal shifts that we could potentially do something about.
That's a really interesting question, and it's something researchers are actively looking into. As we understand more about this interplay between hormones, aging, and well-being, we might be able to create more targeted interventions to help people stay vital and engaged throughout their lives.
It's almost like we need to change how we think about aging. Instead of seeing it as inevitable decline, maybe it's more about understanding what factors are involved and how we can manage them proactively.
I love that. It's about empowering people to take control of their health and well-being, no matter their age.
So let's say someone's listening to this and thinking, maybe my testosterone is low. What should they do? rush out and get tested.
Well, it's important to be thoughtful about this. Not everyone experiences age-related testosterone decline the same way. And there are a lot of other things that can contribute to low energy, low mood, changes in body composition, stress, not sleeping enough, nutritional deficiencies, certain medications. These can all play a role.
So how do you even know if it's a testosterone issue or something else?
The first step is paying attention to your body, your mood.
Mm.
Are you constantly fatigued? Have you lost muscle, gained fat, low libido, trouble concentrating, changes in sleep? If you're noticing a few of these, it's worth talking to your doctor.
Don't just brush it off as getting older.
Exactly. And if your doctor thinks low testosterone might be a factor, they can order a simple blood test to check your levels.
Okay, so testing is an option, but not necessarily step one. It's about that open conversation with your doctor, exploring all the potential causes.
Precisely. And remember, even if you do have low testosterone, there are often ways to manage it effectively and improve your quality of life.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I'm realizing how little I knew about testosterone and how widespread its effects are.
It's a fascinating hormone, that's for sure. And as we've been talking about today, its influence goes far beyond what we typically think of.
I'm starting to see why they call it the vitality hormone. It really does seem to be at the heart of what makes us feel, well, alive and connected to the world.
I think it's a perfect lead-in to our final thoughts on this topic. We've covered a lot today, from the biology to lifestyle changes. But in the end, what does all of this mean for how we understand aging and this desire to truly live?
You know, as we wrap this up, that eunuch study just keeps coming back to me.
Really? Why is that?
It's just such a powerful example of how what we think we know about aging, about vitality, it can get flipped on its head.
I see what you mean. Those guys, because of, their circumstances, live longer, but with totally different hormone situations.
It really makes you think, like, beyond just the physical stuff, what was their experience of life actually like? Did they still feel that drive, that passion, even without the same hormonal ups and downs?
That's a question that takes us more into, like, history, sociology. We don't have their firsthand accounts, unfortunately.
Right.
But it does make you wonder about how much biology, psychology, culture, how those all mix together to shape how we experience aging.
And it highlights how much we still don't know. We're so quick to medicalize aging, see it as a problem that needs solving. But what if instead of just trying to live longer, we focused on, like, how to make those years really good years, full of, real fulfillment and well-being?
I think that's a really important shift in how we think about it. It's not just quantity, it's quality. And that means thinking about not just our bodies, but also the mental, social, even spiritual sides of aging.
We've talked about exercise, TRT, but what about those other aspects? Like, what can we do to cultivate that inner spark, that desire to embrace life no matter what our hormones are doing?
That's where things get really interesting, because it goes beyond just the biological stuff. There's actually a lot of research on the power of mindset, purpose, social connections
Oh, interesting.
in how well we age.
So, like, having good relationships, finding things that give us a sense of purpose, even stuff like mindfulness, gratitude, those things can impact how we experience getting older.
Exactly. There's this whole field called positive psychology that's looking into all of this. And what they're finding is that these practices, they can have a big impact on our happiness, how resilient we are, even physical health, no matter how old we are, what our hormones are doing.
That's pretty amazing. It's a good reminder that we're not just, like, puppets to our biology, right? We have choices. We can shape our experience even as we age.
It's about being proactive.
So it's not about denying aging, pretending we can stay young forever. It's more like embracing each stage of life and knowing that, vitality, joy, fulfillment, those are possible at any age.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
I don't know about you, but I'm kind of feeling this renewed sense of possibility after this deep dive. It's like getting older doesn't have to mean fading away. We can keep growing, evolving, and embracing life, maybe just with a little more wisdom along the way.
Absolutely. I agree.
Well, that's our deep dive for today. As always, we encourage you to keep exploring this topic, do your own research, talk to your healthcare provider if you've got concerns. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, stay curious and keep looking for those insights that make life worth living.